In your headlines, the application process is officially open for those who wish to take advantage of the grant. The Premier brought updates on 5 critical issues, and stray dogs remain a problem here in the TCI. From the PTV Broadcasting Headquarters in Providenciales, your #1 source for news, I'm Erica Penales, delivering the latest from across the country this Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022, right to your door. Newswatch starts now. In today's top story this morning, the Premier brought updates on 5 critical issues, chief among crime, illegal migration, and inflation. Take a look.
One of the things the government promised upon taking office almost a year ago was transparency and accountability in government. Here is what the Premier had to say today about his government's performance with regard to this promise.
When I took office as your Premier, I promised you transparency and accountability. I promised that I would keep you updated each step of the way as we work to improve your lives and advance the growth and development of our Turks and Caicos Islands. I acknowledge that the flow of communications from the government has been inadequate. We are working to build a broad spectrum 21st century public communication network by standing in place a communications directorate. Serious efforts are being made, and we are recruiting personnel with the intention of having that in place before the end of the current financial year. Once that is in place, it will result in the flow of information to the public on time. The current vacuum creates opportunities for mischief makers on social media to misinform and to confuse the public, and that is not a good thing.
In light of this, the Premier brought some updates on a number of critical issues that have engaged the public's interest in recent weeks, starting with crime.
The government is taking a proactive strategy towards policing and national security and will continue to provide the resources required to deal with the challenges of crime across all government agencies, and this includes all government agencies, including the court system. In the coming months, we will be introducing legislation and measures that will use technology to identify and punish those who engage in criminal activities, as well as their accomplices. The new budget will see significant new investment in equipment and other resources to law and order and national security, and incentives will be given to positively impact the fight against crime.
He also addressed illegal migration and proposed changes that are being presented to the House of Assembly next week to arrest this issue.
On Monday, an amendment to the immigration ordinance will be debated in the House of Assembly. It will stiffen the measures taken since this government taken the reins of government to assume to deal with illegal immigration. The focus is to stem the tide of illegal immigration and to propose increased penalties for harboring of illegals, employment and trafficking of illegals. And some of the penalties that are proposed in this legislation for this activity, this illegal activity, the maximum penalty of up to $20,000 or 14 years imprisonment. We mean business. Our social and economic life is being degraded unless we, and will continue to do so, unless we can arrest this malaise. In that same breath, the shipwriters' bill, or a shipwriters' bill, is also on its way to the House of Assembly and will be debated on Monday. Now, the media and the public would by now have known about the shipwriters' agreement between the Turks and Caicos Islands and the Bahamas government. So in order to give it the necessary teeth that it requires, there's a shipwriters' bill on its way to the House, of Assembly and will be debated on Monday. And it will enshrine in law our agreement with the Bahamas to increase our cooperation by facilitating the ability for the two countries to serve on each other's marine assets in the fight against illegal immigration. What I mean by that is that Turks and Caicos Islands law enforcement officers will be able to serve on the Bahamas Coast Guard, and Bahamians will be able to serve on our marine assets in the fight against crime and the protection of our two countries.
Meanwhile, the Premier addressed inflation, saying that while his government understands everyone's concerns with the rise in cost of living, they will not knee-jerk react in response. He explains.
Like you, most of us in Cabinet are also living on a fixed income. We are committed to making the necessary fiscal and social policies and changes in the medium to long term that will adjust and to counter the effects of inflation and to ensure that you can live and thrive. But, ladies and gentlemen, there is no silver bullet. There is no silver bullet solution. But we understand the need for immediate relief while we design a systemic fix that takes into consideration all of the moving parts. This is an extremely complex issue, and we must be careful not to knee-jerk react by fixing one thing and breaking everything else. And so we will not knee-jerk react and worsen the problem. But we understand the need for immediate relief while we design a systemic fix that takes into consideration all of the moving parts. And ladies and gentlemen, Turks and Caicos Islanders, this is why your government has decided to provide a short-term cost of living adjustment stimulus amounting to $6.5 million to all eligible status holders and BOTC holders. And I want to make it clear that this is not a panacea. This is not where it stops. The upcoming budget will address in depth the impact of inflation, and more permanent measures to address it will be made along with other related moves when the budget is presented.
For PTV News Watch, I'm Delana Alves.
Since the announcement of a new stimulus for islanders and BOTCs, residents have had mixed emotions over the amount being proposed. Well, either way, the application process is officially open for those who wish to take advantage of the grant. Here's more. The application portal for the newly announced stimulus grant is officially open. Islanders and BOT citizens have 8 days beginning today, February 2nd to February 11th, to apply for the $500 Citizen Stimulus Inflation Adjustment. While many of us just couldn't wait to sign up, here are a few things that you should know before you begin the application process. Applicant must be 18 years or older. Applicant must not be incarcerated and serving a prison sentence. Form must be fully completed on the portal. Current residents must be entered correctly. And finally, applicant must provide proof of documentation of TCI status holder or BOT citizenship. Documents that can be validated for proof of status are TCI status card, copy of TCI birth certificate, along with a copy of one or both parents' TCI status card, copy of applicant's TCI birth certificate with copy of one or both parents' birth certificate, copy of TCI birth certificate along with Islander status card or Island status certificate of one or both of his or her parents. For BOTCs, a copy of their BOTC passport or BOTC certificate. Additionally, applicant must provide proof of living in the TCI, which may be supported by proof of an active NIB number, TCI voter registration number, or a copy of a utility bill issued within the last 12 months displaying applicant's proper name. A justice of the peace or notary public must verify utility bills. Applicants must also pay keen attention to providing proper addresses, as this is the island in which checks will be issued. The submission of an incorrect island of residence could delay the distribution of and retrieval process. This issue was presented during the first stimulus distribution process. The grant is said to offer residents assistance with anything from utility bills, living expenses, homeowner expenses, childcare, and education. Persons are being asked to sign up as soon as possible in order to allow time for processing in the event of any discrepancies with their applications. Before we take a quick break, PTV would like to say happy birthday to Miss Ivana Orlandi with 100 years worth of priceless moments. We imagine your heart must surely be full of joy. More News Watch when we return.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Back to News Watch. The long-awaited review of the Crown Land Management System is finally getting underway. Details in this report.
The TCI government, in partnership with the UK government, has engaged 2 independent consultants who will work collaboratively to undertake a comprehensive review of the existing Crown land policy, legislation, operating procedures, and resourcing. The review will focus on identifying the challenges with the existing Crown land management and legal framework and the implementation of the ordinance since its commencement in April 2012. It will examine the extent to which improvement is needed and produce a set of recommendations to address the key factors affecting the success of Crown land reforms. Last week, Tuesday, the Governor, the Premier, the Minister of Housing, the Attorney General, and key UK and TCI government officials met with the consultants to kick off the project. Local attorney Donny Gardner, experienced in law and land policy development in the islands, was selected by the TCI government, and Professor Simon Cooper, an expert in Caribbean land law and land registration systems, was selected by the UK. They are tasked with working together to deliver the review. The Premier says the review will assist in identifying whether the existing Crown land policy, ordinance, procedure, and resourcing are fit for purpose, and whether they will enable the strategic outcomes identified by his administration to develop sustainable and affordable housing stock for Turks and Caicos Islanders. Adam Pyle, Deputy Director of the Overseas Territories Directorate of the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, confirmed the UK government's positive collaboration with the Premier, saying that they are pleased to engage in this review and support the island's needs, particularly in terms of housing. He says their hope is that a more straightforward approach will be developed to allow the use, ownership, and stewardship of this valuable resource, while ensuring that the values of transparency and good governance are protected. Residents will receive more information about how to engage with the project over the 6 months of the consultancy. For PTV News Watch, I'm Delana Als.
Stray dogs remain a problem here in the TCI. The Department of Agriculture would like to inform the public on ways they can prevent their dogs from being euthanized. Details in this report. The Department of Agriculture would like the public to know that the trapping of stray dogs and cats is a function of the department throughout the islands. Trapping is an ongoing activity, and the Department of Agriculture and Animal Health Services Division is responsible for receiving and dealing with stray dog complaints. Officers will investigate and, if necessary, carry out trapping exercising to remove stray dogs. We gather that on receiving complaints of stray dogs, officers will reportedly make a visit with the person or persons who have made the complaint. The officer will survey the area to confirm the presence of stray dogs and to identify suitable locations on the property of the person who made the complaint. Traps are purportedly baited and set in the afternoon and collected the following morning. Any dog found in the traps that are not wearing an identification tag is humanly euthanized. Newswatch gathers that dogs with identification tags are kept by the department until the owner is identified. The tag dog is returned to its owner, who is reminded or informed of the law concerning responsible ownership of dogs. Do not remove or damage the traps, as you may be fined. Do not release dogs that are in traps, as you can be fined. The department advises that your responsibilities as a dog owner are: owners must have their dog confined to their property, ensuring that the property is properly fenced to prevent dogs from escaping and roaming free. There should be only 3 dogs to a property. Dog owners with more than 3 dogs are in breach of the law. Owners of dogs should not allow their dogs to be without food and water for long periods of time, as this is cruelty to the dog and can result in poor dog behavior, such as nuisance and aggression to neighbors and passers-by. Dogs outside of a property must be retained on lead or leash. Dog owners should not allow their dogs to roam onto another person's property without their consent. A complaint can be lodged with the department. The owner of a dog is liable for damages done to any person, animal, and plant by their dog. Persons having dangerous dogs are required to keep their dogs under control and confined on the property. A notice indicating that there is a dangerous dog on the property must be placed in an area outside of the property where it can be easily seen. The department asks to remember any dog found in a public area or on a roadway or highway is considered a stray dog and can be trapped and humanly euthanized by the Department of Agriculture trapping team. To avoid your dog being trapped, be a responsible dog owner and not allow your dog to be a nuisance to your neighbors and passers-by. The Department of Agriculture wish to thank the public for cooperating with the Department of Agriculture in their efforts to reduce the stray dog population in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Don't touch that remote. We'll be right back. Coming up next is your weather forecast. Sister Craft Market Souvenir Shop. Come and visit us for your travel keepsakes, keychains, artwork, t-shirts, clothing, jewelry, and many more. We're located at the Lower Bight gas station in Providenciales, and you can contact us at 649-341-3070. That's 649-341-3070. Sister Craft Market and Souvenir Shop.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Here's the latest in your weather forecast. Here's your weather forecast for February 3rd, 2022. For the nation's capital, Grand Turk, on Thursday, partly cloudy skies, high 78, low 73, winds east-northeast at 20 to 30 miles per hour. For South Caicos on Thursday, partly cloudy skies, high 78, low 75, winds east-northeast at 20 to 30 miles per hour. For North and Middle Caicos on Thursday, partly cloudy skies, high 79, low 73, winds east-northeast at 20 to 30 miles per hour. For Parrot and Pine Key on Thursday, partly cloudy skies, high 79, low 73, winds east-northeast at 20 to 30 miles per hour. And on Providenciales on Thursday, partly cloudy skies, high 79, low 73, winds east-northeast at 20 to 30 miles per hour. Now for your sunrise and sunset. sunrise 6:27 a.m., sunset 5:40 p.m., and for your high tides and low tides 9:11 a.m., 9:38 p.m., and for your low tides 2:56 a.m., 3:28 p.m. And that's it for your weather forecast. We'll be right back with more News Watch.
Here at People's Television, we're more than just your leading news and entertainment services. We are
spreading the gospel.
We are breaking barriers.
We are preserving the culture. Each one, teach one.
We are committed to excellence.
We're creating change.
We are creating memories.
We are the future. I am PTV.
I am PTV. I am PTV.
I am PTV.
We are PTV.
We are continuing the legacy. We are PTV.
Welcome back to News Watch. This story has so much valid information that we thought we'd run it again just in case you missed it. In an exclusive with the executive director of the Turks and Caicos National Trust, Wainima Sanders Penn, she shared with News Watch her emotions of gratitude and happiness upon receiving the donation from the wine cellar, which will be put toward the Trust's environmental conservation program.
The Turks and Caicos National Trust received a donation from the wine cellar, one of our corporate sponsors, and the donation was aimed towards our environmental conservation program. And we are encouraging other local partners and corporate partners of the Turks and Caicos National Trust to do similar contributions and support the environmental conservation works here in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
She explained that like other corporate sponsor donations, the wine cellar's contribution toward the environmental conservation program will be used to bring about awareness for programs such as this one.
So for the Turks and Caicos National Trust, one of our main priorities with our strategic planning with our strategic plans right now is focusing on fundraising and fundraising for our programs, whether it be historical and cultural conservation or environmental conservation, and also education, focusing on youth and our youth club, our Moringa Heritage and Discovery Club. So a lot of the contributions and donations that can be made by our corporate sponsors or potential corporate partners can go towards these various activities that help us with our overall strategic priorities.
Penn elucidated that moving forward, the National Trust hopes to bring about more awareness to programs such as the Environment Conservation Program, as they are key to prolonging the indigenous wildlife species in the TCI.
So with our environmental conservation donations and contributions, we aim to bring more awareness about biosecurity and the importance of biosecurity here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Biosecurity is important in many countries throughout the world because you have many different invasive species coming into the island specifically that can destroy the native vegetation and the native wildlife here. So that's where the funding goes, especially when it comes to our environmental conservation. We also have our wetland restoration project. So those persons who are interested in bird watching and wetlands and conserving our wetlands can support that area as well. And also our iguana islands. So ensuring that our endemic rock iguana is continuously being safeguarded for future generations.
Penn told News Watch that she encourages people to join initiatives like the conservation program and to get involved in the community, which can be done through the National Trust as they host events regularly.
Always encouraging the community and persons that are interested in conservation, whether it be historical, cultural, or environmental conservation, to become a member of the National Trust. You can visit our website, www.nationaltrust.tc, and you can go and click the Join button, and it takes you directly to our Join page for the Turks and Caicos National Trust members. And you can also volunteer if you're interested in Australian pine clearing project that we're doing. Most definitely you can come and support also our wetland restoration projects and our Iguana Island projects. We're always looking for volunteers with various backgrounds and interest in preservation of our heritage and our culture, environment, and our history.
Being that World Wetlands Day is tomorrow, February 2nd, Penn told Newswatch that the National Trust, in collaboration with the Department of Environment and Coastal Resources, is hosting a cleanup at the Whelan Pond at 6 a.m.
We do have an upcoming event February 5th. At 6 a.m. Whelan Pond. This is for our World Wetland Day. We celebrate World Wetland Day February 2nd. So we want those who want to come out and enjoy some environmental conservation and a little bit of cleanup. We will have refreshments as well. We're encouraging youth and students to come and join and be a part of our activity as well.
Finally, Wynema concluded with thanking the National Trust sponsors for their continuous support.
We would like to thank our sponsors, especially Wine Cellar, for their contribution towards environmental conservation. It takes a village in order to ensure that we're safeguarding our heritage, whether it be natural, historical, or cultural heritage. And we want to just thank them so much for contributing and their continuous support.
That brings us to the end of this edition of The Real News. I hate to leave you so soon, but of course, you can join us right back here every weekday at 6:30 p.m. and tap into our social media platforms at www.ptv8tci.com. I'm Erica Penales, keeping you informed, updated, and affiliated. Until next time.